Okay, next one up then. And it's looking forward, market trends and forecast. And this is by Hamid, Nawaz, and from SES Networks. Where are you based? Hamid?
I'm based in Dubai.
Okay.
Yeah, so thank you very much, Prof. Hen, and thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, to have given this opportunity. So we are, I believe most of you do know SES. SES is one of the globally largest satellite operator. We have a unique positioning in medium Earth orbit satellite constellation by the name of O3b. So essentially, when we are talking today about LEO, GEO, MEO, and all these constellations and what actually value they bring to the table for the application support, for the telecom industry, for the life in general. So SES has GEO, MEO, and HTS in both the flavors of GEO and MEO. Now, my focus here is about the Satcom sector growth outlook for, do I have to manage this here? Let me see. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so the overall Satcom market for data service is estimated to be close to $16 billion today, where the capacity revenue is around 4.4 billion, and the service revenue is close to 11.4 billion. In the next 10 years, what we foresee, this will get more than double to over $32 billion. Fixed data is expected to remain as the largest market, but with a large uncertainty due to strong competition from the terrestrial technologies. We are going to come to that in the next slides. So mobility and government will have the faster growth, likely with less terrestrial competition, and thus being able to maintain better margins than the terrestrial services. Now, satellite in the context of global telecom market. Satellite somehow has been one of the smallest portion of the larger telecommunication sector. It has usually what I've been hearing for the last 10, 12 years, it has been 1% of the telecom sector as far as the revenue is concerned. So the satellite share of 16 billion revenue is less than 1% of the 2.2 trillion global telecom and cloud market, which is understandably very small. Now, the telecom sector is expected to grow over 6 trillion by 2025. The market is dominantly cloud market in the future, with cloud traffic accounting for over 92% of global data centers. And this is what we foresee by 2020. There is a huge revenue opportunity which exists. Even if Satcom can increase by another share of 1%, that would mean that the revenue today, whatever it is going to be doubled. So SES, we have been investing increasingly in cloud, 5G, and IoT, so that we can enable our customers, partners to tap into these markets. I would I would say that in case of SES, the way we have been supporting the telecom market is as good as the roadmap of the telecom market itself. When we talk of 2G backhaul, we had traditional geo satellites supporting the 2G backhaul. We were able to take the BTSs of mobile network operators to the far-flung areas through extension of ABIS interface. This is something which I think all the telecoms people here would be following. Then when it came to 4G, that has been a real big opportunity for telecoms in the last at least 5 to 6 years. I have been personally involved in looking at the challenges and I would say handling those challenges, and I would say the single most value add, single most game changer that SES brought in these 5 to 6 years has been O3B. The real differentiator has been high throughput down to the customer, down to the end user. Not only the high throughput that you actually get because you have got a larger transponder size on the satellite. Larger transponder size on satellite can obviously give you certain other benefits related to ground segment, related to more flexibility. But as far as the user experience is concerned, this is where we have seen phenomenal growth of data in remote areas where nobody was really expecting that this would be the growth, and that limitation which was always attached to the backhauling through satellite really was removed. And as we move forward, and we will look at in my talk in the slides to come, that how we are positioning ourselves, and we are already aware and awake of the challenges of 5G. Yeah. So on the competing technologies, which we have been talking that most of the fixed data applications have been challenged by the terrestrial technologies. So the first large wave of international fiber capacity arrived during the 2008-2010 period, bringing in almost 7 terabits per second capacity to the eastern and western coast countries. The subsea cable has now reached close to 200 terabits per second. Correspondingly, Africa international bandwidth usage has also increased more than 120 times between 2008 and 2018, now reaching around 11 terabits per second. So, but inland fiber is still a challenge. So that is where just now I was talking about actually reaching to those remote areas and reaching in a way that we reach our mainland countries. We give the same kind of user experience to the people who are living in the metropolitans. So that is where still the gap exists, and we estimate that about 30% of the rural population will never be reachable with a fiber backbone, right? So now the second competing technology, I have to be quick, I am aware and awake that there's a big clock here to look at. So microwave, yeah. So in case of microwave, it has been the largest medium for mobile backhauling. More than 70% of the 5 million mobile towers have been connected through microwave. Satellite share in the backhaul is typically around 1% to 2% of the overall mobile backhaul market, and somehow this corresponds to what we were talking about. We are seeing that we have only got 1% share. So it corresponds to that. Generally, satellite is considered to be competitive in scenarios where more than one hops are, oh, I think, thanks from the audience to, yeah, I did not change. Is it good now? Thanks. So, yeah, so what I was saying that wherever there is more than one hops and there are repeaters and relays required, there the commercial sense starts to be in action, I would say, with satellite. Otherwise, it has been a challenge. So microwave technologies in the recent times have become more competitive with increasing range and capacity. So that is, again, let's qualify it as one of the competitors to us. Now, I have discussed 4G before. Really, 4G, while 5G is coming, 4G takes the lead. On the mobile telephone market, 4G has now taken over 2G and 3G in terms of subscription and will account for more than 50% of overall subscription by the end of 2019. This is good news for satellites because of certain technical parameters. Somehow, satellite backhauling is more optimized for use for 4G backhaul than 3G backhaul. So even though 3G and 4G are expanding its reach, there are more than 4 billion people still not using mobile broadband. It is interesting to note that more than 3 billion out of the 4 billion are not using even 3G/4G. Not because they don't have the coverage, but because it's not commercially viable. See, that is something which we also have to take into account. I have personally experienced, once again, that there are places where most definitely the need for internet is there, and mobile internet is the only way to actually reach there. But the population there, they do not have the finances to actually use it. So that is another affordability is a key issue even for mobile broadband. Yeah. So fixed data revenues will double, as we did see before as well, that from 5 billion in 2019 to 10 billion in 2027. And that will mainly be driven by mobile backhaul. And IP trunk would also be there. Then the trend varies by region. In Latin America, LATAM is the abbreviation of that. It's mainly the social inclusion projects like USF projects. I just heard the Deputy Minister saying that even Turksat 6A is financed through USF funds. So it is not only limited to, I believe, LATAM. So again, we see a good traction for virtual network operation services, especially in the government connectivity project. In Africa, there is still demand for enterprise resiliency and IP trunking services due to some of the terrestrial fiber challenges. But interestingly, this is also true for some of the coastal countries. For example, take case of Kenya. 100% of Kenya's international bandwidth, that was around 2 gigabits, was supplied by satellite in some time frame, 10 years back. This reduced to around 100 megabits by 2013 because the fiber came. Telecom Authority of Kenya in recent years show there is a dramatic increase in the satellite bandwidth uses for international connectivity, like from 300 megabits in 2016 to around 5 gigabits in 2018. So in case of Asia Pacific, There is an increase in social inclusion activity funded by government in Southeast Asian countries like Bhakti Project in Indonesia and UNDP in Philippines. So these are the market opportunities that we are seeing for fixed data. In case of Turkey, it's important that we are talking about Turkey while we are here. So Turkey has a lot of young population, which is 23.6%, falling in the range of 0 to 14 age bracket. So, and mobile market is expected to continue to grow, driven by steadily rising population and relatively low mobile penetration of 94%. We have to be aware of it. Most of the countries, like Turkey, have already exceeded mobile penetration of more than 100%. Then Satcom market, it is one of the largest VSAT market in MENA region, Middle East and North Africa, with more than 10,000 active enterprise VSAT sites. Economic outlook, largely free market, economy driven by industrial and services sectors, and agriculture still accounts for 20% of the employment. So most definitely, it's a promising future growth for Turkey. Oh. Yeah, so I think this would be the important one for all the mobile telecom audience here. So this is the picture of mobile telecom market in Turkey. So we're seeing that there is strong competition between the three well-established players. 4G coverage is now reaching close to 90%. USO schemes driving the coverage expansion by MNOs to the remaining rural and underserved areas, presenting opportunities for satellite backhaul. So clearly, we see that 4G has a lot of gas here still, while 5G is coming, yeah. This is more of a data sharing for the fixed broadband market. I'll directly go to the place where we see SES as the facilitator, as I would say, again, in this case, a game changer in 5G rollout for the mobile operators. So we have the coverage, 70%, 70 plus satellites, including 20 medium Earth orbit satellites. We have the coverage in terms of 99% of the globe, of the world population, I would say. Then we have seen in all these times, we have developed the capabilities to actually support the applications that are that really changes, bring more revenue streams for the operators and give more facilities to the end users. And now with O3B Empower, we are bringing in a unique capacity which will really drive not only the throughput, but the flexibility for the operators to launch 5G in the remotest areas. We will be addressing the core issue of in-country gateways. There will be Number of beams, one of my colleagues will be addressing O3B Empower in a bit more detail in sessions to come. But for now, what I can see that we have been along the roadmap of the telecom operators, and we continue to be as a responsible and one of the largest global satellite operator. Thank you.